Hello friends, I am Vishal Wadkar. In this video, we will see how electricity works. In this video, we will study the basic concept of electricity. It is the basic video to understand how electricity works before moving to the advanced area of electrical engineering. First, the atom. Here, everything is made from atoms, including the human being. Different materials have different types of atoms. At the center of atom is the nucleus. It consists two particles known as the neutron and proton. The neutron has no electrical charge, but the proton has a positive electrical charge. The surrounding of nucleus has different layers of orbital shell which act like another particle. It is called as electron. The electrons travel along this path much like satellite orbit around our planet, except that the electrons travel at almost the speed of light. The negative charge of the neutrons is attract to the positive charge of proton, which keeps the electrons in the orbit. Each orbital shell can hold a set number of electrons. The number of protons, neutrons and electrons an atom has tells us which material it is, and the combination is unique for each material. The atoms hold on to their electrons tightly, but some materials will hold on to their electrons more tightly than others. The outermost orbital shell is known as the valence shell, and in this shell some materials will have loosely bound electrons which can float to the other atoms. Next is conductors and insulators. The materials which can pass the electrons are known as the conductors. That means they can conduct electricity. Most materials are the conductors. The atoms which do not have free electrons are known as insulators. For example, glass and rubber are the good insulators. We can combine the conductors and insulators together to safely use the electricity. This is done by surrounding the conductor with an insulator. It allows electrons to flow, but it restricts where they can flow to. This is how the cables and wires work. If we look inside a slice of copper cable, we can see the free electrons of atoms move from one atom to another. However, this occurs randomly in any direction. If the slice of cable were then connected in a closed circuit to a source of power such as battery, then the voltage will force the free electrons to move, and this will cause them to all flow in same direction to try and get back to the other terminal of the battery. Next is circuit. The term circuit refers to a route which the electrons can flow along to get between the two terminals of the power source, that is positive and negative. When a circuit is closed, then electrons can flow from one terminal to the other. When a circuit is open, then it is a gap in the circuit, so electrons cannot flow. We can place electrical components in the path of the free electrons which flow in the circuit. This will force the electrons to flow through the component, and this can be used to perform a work such as generation of the light. Next is voltage. The voltage is a pushing force of electrons in a circuit, much like pressure in a water pipe. The more pressure you have, the more water can flow. The more voltage you have, the more electrons can flow. In the figure you can see here one battery is connected, then multimeter shows the 9 volt, and if we connect 3 batteries in series, then multimeter shows 27 volt. A volt is a joule per coulomb. A joule is a measurement of energy or work, and a coulomb is a group of flowing electrons. A 9 volt battery can provide 9 joules of energy in the form of work or heat per group of electrons that have the flow from one terminal of the battery to the other. In this case, the electrons from one terminal of the battery through the LED bulb and then into the other terminal of the battery. Therefore, 9 joules of light and heat is produced by the bulb. Next is current. Current is the flow of electrons. When a circuit is closed, then current of electrons can flow, and when a circuit is open, then there is no flow of current. We can measure the flow of electrons just like you can measure the flow of water through a pipe. To measure the flow of electrons, we have to use the unit of amperes, or in short amp. 1 ampere means 1 coulomb per second, and 1 coulomb equals to number of electrons per second. This number is very large, hence we measure the current in ampere only. Next is resistance. Resistance is a restriction to the flow of electrons in the circuit. Wires which can carry the current will naturally have some resistance. The longer the wire, the greater the resistance. The thicker the wire, the less the resistance. The resistance to flow of electrons is different for each material. The temperature of the material will also affect the level of resistance. The electrical circuit use specially designed components known as resistors. Its purpose is to restrict the flow of electrons. It is used to protect other electrical components from receiving too much current, and it can also be used to generate the light and heat, such as in an incandescent light bulb. Resistance occurs when electrons collide with atoms The number of collisions varies by material. Some materials, such as iron, will have a very high rate of collisions, whereas other materials, such as copper, has much fewer collisions. When collisions occur, the atoms generate the heat, and at a certain temperature, the material will start to produce the light as well as heat, similar to the incandescent lamp. Next is inductor. When a wire is wrapped in a coil, as shown in the figure, when a wire is wrapped in a coil, it will produce a magnetic field as the current passes through it. The cable would naturally create the magnetic field. It's just intensified by the shape of coil. By wrapping the wire in a coil, the magnetic field becomes so strong that it starts to affect the electrons within the wire. We can increase the intensity of the magnetic field simply by wrapping the wire around an iron core. We can increase a number of rotations within the coil, and we can also increase the amount of current passing through the circuit to produce larger and stronger magnetic field. It is the basic principle of induction motors. Next is electromagnetic induction. When a magnetic field is passed across a coil of wire, it will induce a voltage into the wire caused by an induced electromotive force, that is EMF, which is pushing the electrons in a certain direction. If a coil is connected to a circuit, this will cause a current to flow. It is the basic of how AC generator works. Next is transformer. The transformers are a combination of all points which we have covered. We can create two separate circuits and use a transformer to induce current from one circuit into the other. By generating an AC current in a closed circuit and passing this current through a coil which is in close proximity to another coil in a separate closed circuit, we can create a transformer and induce a current from the primary circuit into the secondary circuit. Transformers can be used to increase or decrease the voltage between the primary and secondary circuits simply by changing the number of coils on the either side. Next is capacitor. The capacitor forces positive and negative charges to separate across two plates when it is connected to a power supply. It causes a build of stored electrons within an electrical field. When power supply is cut or interrupted, these charges will then be released, where they will meet up and flow again. This provides a power source by only very briefly, as it only lasts until the separated charges have met up again. This is slightly similar to a battery, except it can't maintain a power supply for as long. The capacitors are very common and can be found in pretty much every electrical circuit. It is mostly used in the electrical circuits. Last is the types of electricity. There are two types of power in use, which are alternating current, that is AC, and second is direct current, that is DC. The alternating current simply means the current flow backwards and forwards in a circuit as the terminals are constantly reversed. This is like tide of the sea. It goes in and out repeatedly. Alternating current is the most common type of electrical power, and this is the type of power available in the power sockets of the home. Second is direct current. The direct current means the current flow directly in only one direction. It is provided from batteries and photovoltaic panels. It is most commonly used in portable electrical goods. We can convert between AC and DC using the rectifiers and inverters. This is how the AC power from home can be used to charge our mobile phones which use DC power. In this video, we have covered basic of electricity, how it flows, and basic electrical parameters like voltage, current, inductor, capacitor, the major equipment, that is transformer, and the two types of electricity, AC and DC, as well as comparison between AC and DC. Okay, thank you for the watching this video.